The life of the Prophet. Childhood and tragedies. After the incident of Shaq-e Sadr, the splitting of the chest, Hazrat Halima Sa'diya returned the Prophet Muhammad to his mother, Hazrat Amina, when he was 4 or 5 years old. Hazrat Amina then entrusted the care of the young Prophet to Ayman, who was originally a slave of his father. Her real name was Baraka. When the Prophet was 6 years old, his mother, Hazrat Amina, took him to visit the grave of his late father, Hazrat Abdullah, in Yathrib, later known as Medina. This small caravan consisted of 2 camels and included Ayman. They stayed at Darul Nabiga, where Hazrat Abdullah was buried, for about a month. During this time, the Prophet learned how to swim in the ponds of Banu Najjar and played with his maternal cousins in the area. Ayman narrates that the Jewish residents of Yathrib observed the young Prophet closely. She overheard one of them say, "This is the Prophet of this Ummah, and this city will be his place of migration." She remembered these words. On the way back, near a place called Abwa, Hazrat Amina fell ill. The caravan halted, and it was there that she passed away. In her final moments, she recited a few lines of poetry that are preserved in Mawahib al-Adniyah. Hazrat Amina was approximately 28 years old at the time of her death and had lived 6 years and 3 months after the birth of the Prophet. Hazrat Amina was buried at the same spot in Abwa. Ayman then brought the young Prophet back to Mecca to his grandfather, Abdul-Muttalib. Thus, the child who had been born an orphan now lost his mother as well, spending only a short time with her. After his mother's death, Ayman cared for the Prophet like a mother. The Prophet would later say about her, "She is my mother after my biological mother." When the Prophet was appointed as a prophet, Ayman was among the first to embrace Islam. The Prophet freed her from slavery. She was first married to Ubayd bin Zayd bin Amir from the Banu Harith tribe, with whom she had a son, Ayman, after whom she was called Ayman. After Ubayd's death, the Prophet arranged her marriage to his freed slave, Hazrat Zayd bin Haritha, and they had a son named Usama bin Zayd. Ayman passed away during the caliphate of Hazrat Usman. After the death of Hazrat Amina, Abdul-Muttalib took the young Prophet into his care. Abdul-Muttalib deeply loved the Prophet, even more than his own children, and considered him very special. Historical accounts indicate that Abdul-Muttalib believed his grandson would achieve greatness. Once, a delegation from the tribe of Banu Mudlij, known for their skill in physiognomy, examined the footprint of the young Prophet and found it to be strikingly similar to the footprint of Hazrat Ibrahim, alayhi salam, on the Maqam Ibrahim. They advised Abdul-Muttalib to take great care of the child. Abdul-Muttalib often kept the Prophet close to him, stroking his back and remarking on his exceptional qualities. He would seat him beside him at the Kaaba and ensure he ate with him. During this period, Hazrat Usman bin Affan was also born. The Prophet spent his childhood under the loving care of Abdul-Muttalib, and all his uncles and aunts cherished him deeply. However, divine destiny had more challenges in store. When the Prophet was 8 years old, Abdul-Muttalib also passed away. The young Prophet, deeply attached to his grandfather, was seen weeping as the funeral procession moved. Abdul-Muttalib was 82 years old at the time of his death. This 8-year-old child, orphaned of both parents and now bereft of his grandfather, seemed all alone in the world. He had no siblings, no immediate family to lean on. Yet, who could have known that this seemingly vulnerable child would soon become a source of hope, guidance, and solace for millions? Indeed, every moment of the Prophet's life holds invaluable lessons for us. The Prophet herding sheep for wages. The death of Hazrat Abdul-Muttalib holds great significance for multiple reasons. During his time, Qusay bin Kilab had entrusted all the affairs of leadership to his descendant, Abdul Manaf, the great-grandfather of the Prophet. Later, these responsibilities were passed to Abdul Manaf's son, Hashim, who was the Prophet's great-grandfather. Hazrat Hashim had also taken on most of the responsibilities related to the caretaking of the Kaaba during his lifetime. These duties were inherited by Hazrat Abdul-Muttalib, who served as the chief of Mecca like his father, Hashim. However, after Abdul-Muttalib's death, the Banu Hashim family lost much of its worldly influence and prestige, marking the first time in decades that the Banu Umayyah overtook the Banu Hashim in status. Leadership in Mecca passed to Harb, the renowned son of Umayyah, who seized control of the Kaaba's custodianship. Hazrat Abu Sufyan was Harb's son. Harb retained most of the leadership and custodianship duties, leaving only the task of Sakaya, providing water to pilgrims, with Hazrat Abbas, Abdul-Muttalib's youngest son. Hazrat Abdul-Muttalib had 10 sons from various wives. The Prophet's father, Hazrat Abdullah, and Hazrat Ali's father, Hazrat Abu Talib, were full brothers from the same mother. Before his passing, Abdul-Muttalib entrusted the young Prophet to the care of Abu Talib, given their close familial bond. He also called upon his daughters, Hazrat Amina's sisters and the Prophet's paternal aunts, Arwa, Umayma, Bara, Safiya, Attika, and Hakim al-Baida, to ensure the proper upbringing and care of the Prophet. Abu Talib took the Prophet into his home and treated him with immense love and care, as did his wife, Hazrat Fatima bin Asad. She played a significant role in raising the Prophet and loved him deeply. Abu Talib remained a steadfast supporter and protector of the Prophet throughout his life, often prioritizing his well-being over that of his own children. He kept the Prophet close, much like Abdul-Muttalib had done. Abu Talib's family faced financial difficulties due to his large household. Observing these challenges at a young age, the Prophet sought to help. Without hesitation, he began working to ease his uncle's burdens. He would herd sheep for wages, taking the animals to graze in an area called Arakat, near the hill of Ajayat in Mecca. Whatever earnings he made, he would give to his uncle. Herding sheep was not considered a demeaning task in Arab society. Rather, it was a common and acceptable occupation, even for children from noble families. In fact, it was often seen as a recreational activity and part of the Arab way of life. Later in life, the Prophet would fondly recall this simple and fulfilling occupation. On one occasion, while visiting the same wilderness with his companions, the Prophet spoke about it. Hazrat Jabir bin Abdullah narrates, "We were collecting fruit from the Iraq toothbrush tree, when the Prophet said, 'Pick the black ones, for they are the best.' We asked, 'O Messenger of Allah, did you also herd sheep?' He replied, 'Yes, every prophet has herded sheep at some point.' This practice of herding sheep continued for the Prophet until he was around 10 or 12 years old. These humble beginnings not only reflected the simplicity of the Prophet's early life, but also laid the foundation for the extraordinary qualities of leadership, patience, and care that would later define his prophethood.